Hey guys, today we're going to be making chocolate covered cherries. This is a recipe that I've had for years. I don't even know where I got it. I've had it for so long. I used to make them every year for Christmas. Just came across it recently and thought I'd go ahead and try to make them again. If you are going to be making these chocolate covered cherries as a gift, you're going to want to give yourself about a week's head start. The centers need time to liquefy, so making them about a week or so in advance really helps that process. So what you'll need are 6 10-ounce jars of cherries. I like the ones with the stem on them. I just think they come out kind of prettier and they're easier to dip in the chocolate. You'll need some powdered sugar, sweetened condensed milk. I've got sweetened condensed coconut milk here that I'm going to use today. You'll need some dark rum. There's an ingredient called Invertase that you can substitute for the alcohol. That helps break down the sugars and liquefy the centers. You'll need melting chocolate. I ordered some King David melting chocolates online. I'll leave a link below for those. I ordered them because I wanted to make sure to keep the recipe vegan. To begin, you're going to need to remove a tablespoon of the liquid from the cherries, and you're going to be replacing that with a tablespoon of the dark rum or the Invertase if you choose to use that. So just kind of shake it up and then set them aside for about 24 hours. I've drained them and let them sit on a rack for quite a few hours. You can also take paper towel and blot them dry. So to make the fondant, you're going to need 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of light corn syrup. I don't know if you guys know the trick of spraying your spoon or cup with some Pam before you pour any kind of syrup or sticky stuff in, and it just helps it flow better and come out a lot easier. Then you'll use a half a teaspoon of almond extract. So I'm going to just mix this up. And then I'm going to add 2 pounds of powdered sugar. Now this is going to be super thick, so you're going to have to just take it easy, go kind of slow. You can add a little bit of that reserved cherry juice if it seems a little dry. This is really seeming pretty darn dry right now. So you just kind of knead it around a little bit. And you can see it's kind of like a Play-Doh consistency. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that your cherries are good and dry. I put a paper towel over them and press them out. If they're wet or too wet, the fondant's not going to want to stick to them. Now I found this really cute scoop. It's itty bitty tiny. And I'm going to use that to see if it doesn't give me about the amount that I'll need to wrap my cherries. You're just going to flatten it. You could probably get away with just using a measuring spoon. I'd say about a teaspoon should do it. Depends on the size of your cherries, really. The more you make of these, the more you'll kind of have an idea what you'll need and how to do it. It's just, there's no real science to it. It's just candy. So honestly, guys, you don't even need any special equipment to do this. You don't need a mixer. We used to do this by hand with a wooden spoon. Can I tell you how many wooden spoons we broke over the years making these cherries? The next step is to put these in the freezer, let the fondant get firm, and then we're going to dip them in chocolate. Okay, so I've wrapped up quite a few of the cherries. The fondant, I've got a lot of it left and a lot of cherries left. So what you'll do, if it's taking a little while to do this, is get a clean kitchen towel and just make it a little damp to keep your fondant covered. That'll keep it from drying out while you're working. So the tray that I've got ready, I'm going to go ahead and put in the freezer for a few minutes while I get the chocolate melting. I'm going to use a double boiler to melt the chocolates. You can also use the microwave. I just find that sometimes the microwave can burn the chocolate. When I use a double boiler, I have more control over the heat and the melting of the chocolate. So in the meantime, I've got a double boiler started here. I have some water and a bowl. I'm going to put some chocolate in. I want to make sure that my water's not too hot. So these are vegan chocolate melts. I'll just let these melt down. I'll get the fondant covered cherries out of the refrigerator and we'll start dipping as soon as the chocolate's ready. So my chocolate's nice and melted. You can probably hear the water boiling underneath the pot here. It's important that you don't let the water get into the chocolate because that can cause it to seize up. So you'll just take your cherries, and first I want to just dip the bottoms in the chocolate, just the very bottom, because that's going to help as the fondant starts to liquefy. It's going to help it so it doesn't leak out of the bottom. Because remember, these have to sit for about a week or so before they're ready to eat. When you're using a double boiler, you need to make sure that the water level is below the bowl so that it doesn't overheat and burn your chocolate. You can hear somebody's car alarm going off in the distance there. So you guys might know I'm from Florida, and even though it's December 12th and Christmas time, we've got our windows open. Earlier it was raining. You heard the rain through the video, the recording. I should have closed the window, but it sounded so nice and relaxing here. But once I played back some of that video while the cherries were getting ready, boy, you could really hear the rain coming down. It was kind of distracting, so I apologize about that. I mean, Florida's wonderful as far as weather goes most of the time. That car alarm. I guess I'll stop videoing, at least maybe it'll be quiet. But then the dogs or something will start barking. There's just always something going on. You can see the outside of my cherries are starting to get wet looking from the condensation. It's so humid. That could be a problem when it comes time to dip the whole cherries in the chocolate. The wetness might cause the chocolate to seize up. I'm hoping not, but yours probably won't get as wet unless you're living in humid Florida too. I'm sure this boiling water is probably making all kinds of crazy sounds on my mic. I've had so much trouble with the sound and trying to figure out how to work all this with these videos. Like, oh gosh. My hat's off to people who do this on a regular basis and make this their career. I don't know how they do it. I would give anything to have my own crew to help me make these videos. It's really hard when you're a one-man show, especially someone from my generation who really has no idea about social media and technology. I've learned so much, still learning, still trying to work out a whole bunch of kinks and bugs. Ah, gosh. I appreciate those that do watch though. It's kind of fun to post a video and see some people enjoy them, some not. You just do your best, or at least I do my best. I like to share stuff that I enjoy. Cooking and baking has meant a lot to me in my life. And I really do love making treats and goodies for others. And just sharing some of the recipes that I really love to make and share. All right. I guess I've chit-chatted the whole while I've done this. I wasn't planning to. Yeah, these are getting pretty wet on the outside from the humidity. I sure hope it's not going to give us trouble. Alrighty, bottoms are done. I'll put them back in the fridge. Hopefully that'll take care of some of this condensation. I'm going to take the cherries that had the bottoms dipped, and I'm just going to swirl them in the chocolate mixture. You want to make sure you get the stem area covered, because once they start to liquefy, the liquid might start to come out through that top area. I like to try to get some of the extra chocolate off the bottom as it comes down, because it'll pool when you set it down. If your baking or your cookie sheet is cool, it's going to help keep the bottoms from spreading too much. So that's another little tip you can try. The stems kind of make dipping them a lot easier. The round ones, are the ones with no stems, are really a lot more difficult to dip in the chocolate unless you have those fancy chocolate dipping or candy making tools. I just used a fork and it was kind of awkward. So stems are easier. Not easier to wrap, but easier to dip, so pick your poison. So I've dipped all the cherries in the chocolate, and I found some vegan white chocolate chips. I like to take the white chocolate and kind of get it in the tines of a fork and then just kind of swirl and shake it all over the cherries just to kind of give them a nice look. It's a little bit messy, so I put them in the fridge so that the chocolate would firm up a little bit. I just kind of do this bit. You're going to cover them loosely at room temperature while they liquefy, and then after a week you're going to put them in a tightly covered container in the fridge.